The only other person who generally has a camera.
Who shares space.
Not that it consistently works on Roll20, but needs must when the devil drives.
It's better than nothing.
There. Fits on the stream.
And then I'll just refresh, just so that I can kick Sharia while she's feeling triumphant, because I'm a bad person. Right. I did say when the devil drives, and I'm obviously at the wheel, so. Ooh, how far do you think I'll go? I gotta be at least an imp, right?
Oh.
I wonder if I can get all the way to Spiny.
Maybe.
I'm still so sad about Descent into Avernus.
I know. It was
Obviously,
so
I'm still a Traxigor. I didn't even... At first, I was in denial about the fact that I was trying to steal Zodge, but then I just owned it at the last minute.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if the girls don't see through it, then I'd be sad. So I'll just straight up admit it right there on camera. And then I got the idea to have him with his live-in lover... I was going to say Cercio. That is not correct. Izio.
Yeah, Izio. Let me tell you, as a connoisseur of fan fiction, I don't think there's anything wrong with this. Like, absolutely own it. Like, they do it all the time in AAA game and media, where they just will take characters and won't even try very hard to hide the fact that they're totally this other character, and then you're just like, oh look, fuck, the main character of Cyberpunk is literally Keanu Reeves. Come on.
No, he's not the main character. Well, spoilers.
Okay. All right.
It's a great story. Maybe I'll do a show of that when they no longer have terms of service violations automatically happen when you're driving your motorcycle.
Yeah.
I get my dick out an awful lot in that game for driving a car. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I understand that some people have their kinks, but V's got a problem. He needs to watch more. What's his name? Films by Cronenberg. He needs to watch more Cronenberg. Who can go better?
Yeah. Hey, Mary, do you think that's a good lamp constellation?
Oh. You made a constellation that's in the shape of light. You need the drawstring.
Where the hell are you drawing it, motherfucker?
You have to add the drawstring. It's on stream. It's right here.
I don't see it on stream.
She's making the lobby screen.
Yes, I noticed.
It's free labor, so I was even trying not to bring it to anybody's Zoom. Because I want the free labor without having to address. She's working for exposure, you see.
No, I'm literally working out of boredom. Not that boredom is the right word. You just keep on calling it boredom, even though it's really my hands need to be doing something.
No, you're stimming, intellectually engaging kind, which is not just productive, but also imaginative and expressive. Did you Miriam, did you see the last episode of You're Playing It Wrong? It's straight up what you were talking about. It's about it's about the difference between expressing creativity and performing emulation, and why they're similar but distinctly different, but both really important, and that we need to stop, because we have a tendency to favor things that are imaginative, but then nobody understands them and you can't play because nobody knows what the fuck is happening. Whereas 5th edition has like tropes, so you know. It's great. I did a much better job in the episode, but it's also 5 minutes long. 7 minutes long. 7 minutes. Dungeons and Dragons, 7 is magic, 7 minutes. That's the rule of thumb.
Okay.
And as much as I follow rules.
7 is an unlucky number for me.
Oh.
According to my horoscope.
I am not making the character sheets. That's the whole reason I come in here. Oh, I already made the character sheets. I just didn't put names on them? Why? What was the point? Oh, because I got caught up in looking at them. And
it's
then
so weird.
I did nothing with them.
Such an empty server.
Yeah, because you're used to Nostria with its fucking 138 players, 7 of whom ever show up. Okay, so this will be Katie. I don't know.
Hey, you said it right.
I don't know why you're Katie, but here you are. This will be.
It's her standard pseudonym.
Yeah, that is
which she has never used, to my knowledge, at all.
That's because
Adriel is her pseudonym. Not
Katie
Jesse.
Katie is what I use when I write fan fiction.
In parentheses, somebody else.
Yes.
All right. This is shock and awe. Just make sure I spell that correctly. And then wait for the stream to catch up so I can get yelled at. And then what are these two for? Matt and I have no excuses for there being two of them. Oh well, this is fine. There's too much lemon juice.
I need another screen. I don't. There's too many things to have open and not enough space.
I don't know what you mean.
Third one over to the side so I can have stuff over there too. But
Do you
my
need
desk
mom's
is-
setup?
No, I don't. I'm not. Mom.
Was that portrait one in the center?
I mean, I do like the portrait one, but at the same time,
I've seen her pull out extra screens and hook them up.
yeah.
Wow.
Honestly, I would love to have like 7 screens
Dude,
and just like a little like thing where I can just turn them on and off.
one of the few things David Cage did that wasn't terrible is that one of the the FBI agent in Heavy Rain is he has the virtual office. I need the virtual office with artificially infinite space for all this stupid shit I've got going on.
Yeah.
Well, except that I'd fuck up with the microphones because I never stay close enough to the microphones as it is. But that's what I get for using music mics for streaming. Why does it not fit on stream anymore? What have I done? What happened to the table? The table doesn't fit. No, you're okay. Your cropping job is incompetent, sir.
That you need more yellow and red.
More yellow and red.
Oh, it never works on this screen. That's why it has to be over here in order for me to
You
stream.
need more warm. You need some more warm colors.
In the
Space is full
nebula,
of all colors.
do you think?
Space is full of every color, motherfucker.
I don't know what the hell they're talking
I
about.
said what I said.
No,
I-
don't share the
Whatever
Discord
fuck
chat.
you want.
Don't. We're notorious for our NSFW.
In there.
Don't share the. Yeah, there we go. Hey, that wasn't as hard as I was making it out to be. Streaming hardly ever is as difficult as I make it out to be. Alright, but this sort of here-ish.
Do you like the nebula strip that is now starting to look like a tentacle better, Miriam?
Derp,
Yes.
derp, derp. Live there, thank you. Yeah, and the overlay
I
should
think
probably be on the
the
top.
Silvex cards are kind of weird, but other than that, it's pretty good.
Schmerp. Except
I really
huge?
can't
Why is it
See my
huge?
face?
Oh well, whatever. The overlay is
I
just
really-
enormous. This is life. This is life.
I wish you could put Google Docs in dark.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
That would be amazing. Why would I do this to you? You potentially have a camera.
Then people would see my face. Because right now all they can see are my tits, which isn't bad
Well,
necessarily.
they don't see anything because Roll20 is stingy.
It's true.
It's not.
And you,
way it
it's
should
like you keep
I'm not doing it on
zoom out a
purpose.
little.
I'm just trying to get shit to show up on stream because I had it in the wrong window. And I was set up to share documents because it didn't dawn on me that it would be easier to do in here since we have the digital character sheets, which it obviously should have. And then we'll go over here.
Are we supposed to be able to see those character sheets that you've made?
Oh, yes, they have to be in your journals, don't they?
Yeah.
Just saying. Just saying.
Everybody can edit everything because I can trust you. Although it shouldn't be hard to put it in the right person's journals anymore because there's only 5 people in here. I'm just used to there being 130, so putting something in somebody's journal is just unbelievable. Oh, this isn't a real player.
Cool.
Nobody cares about this person.
Why?
Edit. That's fine. We'll just make everybody... We'll just make Miriam open to everyone.
Pop, 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 pop.
I can hear you.
Oh, sorry, I was popping the character sheet out into a pop-up.
And that required the cute little noise you made. Okay.
Yeah, it requires the sound effects, Lampe. Didn't you know?
Yes.
As opposed to
It's
requiring
the
the...
Don't worry about it.
All right, Shreya is Shreya.
Oh, cool.
Hey, and save changes.
Yes, because unlike Shara, I cannot stim in constructive manners. I instead have to be intuitive.
Me either. I just forget what I'm doing and then eat a pencil. It gets expensive after a while, which is why I chew on the chopsticks instead. Fuck you. You have outlived your usefulness. Okay.
I feel like you should find a human equivalent to a rawhide and use that instead.
When you say rawhide, what do you mean?
You know those things that you shouldn't give dogs because it's not good for them? But they're technically edible?
Okay.
That's what I mean. I mean, a thing that can provide you a minute amount of sustenance that will not intrude upon your digestive system, while also not damaging your fucking teeth.
Well, I have the little artistic what's it somewhere. One of them survived. I need the ultra high density though, because I just eat the soft ones. And they're not good. They're not food. I just do what I do. Audio for now.
I will be right back.
You can do that? How do you do that? How do you say... No, don't tell me. I'll just remain ignorant and be sad. That's my lot in life.
I don't know what the question is, but if you ask it from me later after I come back, I will answer it. I'll be right back.
How was... Oh, this is an ad. Okay. Copy this, and I'll put it... I already have so many windows open. Here, you'll sit next to the Darkest Dungeon screen. I will mute the tab in case you are dangerous for some reason. No, don't click the 5e monster... Actually, that's super interesting, but no, get out here. I do like the 5th edition monster generator. I think that's fucking sweet. Apparently I'm following this person because they're presumably doing Chain Stars. Oh, sweet.
There's an edge stat, and I can't help but think that Shadow the Hedgehog has it maxed out. I don't even know what it is.
So that was what I was wrong about before, and I'm glad you brought that up because that needs clarification. It works. It is double-edged, but much faster than I thought. You can use an edge point to re-roll a check with your edge bonus, which is either 1 the number of times or equal to. I'm not sure which yet. I think that you get to do it once. I think it adds 1 die. But if you fail, it fucking sucks immediately, and that's when bad things happen. And I think something can make you roll against it, which is harder to do the more of it you've used, which would be a very Cthulhu thing. But I'm not sure. I haven't looked into that either. Lee does not seem to be in chat, so we're probably not going to get too many systems answers. But I'll read through the rules documents before we play in order to make sure that I know that that is the case. In the meantime, we just need the idea for the characters, and we have pre-constructed characters. So you'll be stuck with the decision that you're stuck with next week. But we're not even terribly worried about that right now. We're more worried about what the story's going to be like and what the character you're going to play's role in that world will be. Why is this even open? I was afraid that I'd shut it on screen, but I changed it to this screen so that people can see stars because my overlay is ridiculous. No, there is definitely a huge delay. Like madness. Yeah, no, I've seen the... you guys seem to have headed me off at having a system for wounds and for, like, mental and emotional strife in the moment, which is really cool. So, like, there's stress mechanics and, like, biological emergency mechanics. Fantastic. I mean, considering what I was going through when I was coming up with just dealing with wounds, that's actually really neat. And pushing yourself in order to get the thing, it's awesome. I'm a big fan of that. Even though the details of it, the fine details of how Edge works, have escaped me
Sorry about that.
at the moment. I didn't realize. Why is this still on?
You guys there? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you.
That doesn't help anything. There's
Yeah,
still nothing there. All right.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Just for now. Go back to here. It'll be fine. Okay. So when you push the roll, you get to add your a dice to it from your edge pool, and if you fail, I get to do terrible things.
I love that sanity-like thing, right? Where the more stupid shit you do, the more likely you are to have a mental breakdown.
Yes, but I don't know how many things actually make you roll against it specifically. It's just if you try to push something and it doesn't work, it fucks you up in your brain. Which is, I mean, that's how you end up like shell shocked and shit like that. Like that's a real phenomenon. But anyway, yeah. So that
I like it because it's really dynamic, and you could use it for more than just like physical trauma. Like if you were, for example, socializing is a pain in the fucking ass, you know. So you could also do like if you have to talk to someone you cannot fucking communicate with, that also will increase it.
Yeah, that'll be. Well, I don't know. I could see myself putting people in a position where it's like this is well outside of your character's wheelhouse, but you don't have much of a choice. So I'm going to have you burn an edge for no reason because this is fucked. But I don't. Usually, the idea is that the fact that you are using the edge is why it can go wrong, right? And so usually, I think that doesn't come up. Yeah.
So it says the bugs get a +1 to wits. The Murai, +1 wits.
You should be able to see character sheets. So you should be able to see.
So are we making
on this table?
Are we making characters? Because I thought we were doing pre-con.
No, they're going to be pre-cons, but you have to make a choice of what kind of character you're going to get, and that might be influenced by some of the stats. That's why I was saying that you're just going to get stuck with what you get stuck with based on how this conversation goes tomorrow. Or tomorrow. I keep thinking tomorrow, like tomorrow is next Wednesday. Do you have any idea what kind of shit I have to get done by next Wednesday? Holy fuck. I might even know where I'll live in 4 months.
That's why I try to always say stuff like next time.
Ooh,
that way you don't be wrong about when
You're a bitch is a time lord. You're unfixed in time.
Yeah.
Apparently wit is an old stat thing. Cognition is it now?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, cognition.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, well that's easily fixed. It's not like my shit's not full of that. In fact, sometimes I refer to them as though I expect everybody else to know what the earlier versions called it and use the words synonymously, and then I get impatient when other people are like, what the fuck does this mean?
I just view it sort of like pronouns, which is to say that you shouldn't use the dead name of your stats. What the fuck? I'm right.
I'm right. Oh, is a delay on that, so that's good. Maybe I should just pull the plug.
No.
How long is the delay? Okay,
No,
so
it's an accurate. It's well, one of these things is. way
this
more
is literally
important
the
than
only
other-
time it shows up in the materials we have before us. So I'll just change that to.
While one of the versions is more important than the other, it's not a bad analogy to make because it's about communication. And I will stay on this line of thought mostly to troll you now.
So it would seem.
But I mean, it's similar to it.
At least nobody's
similar
using
to
any
how
racial slurs.
Shara and I have been leaning towards addressing each other with our handles more. Me primarily because she doesn't like. Yeah. Well, we've been given permission to dead name the stats.
Yes.
We're
We're not going to do that though because it's confusing.
Yeah, that's hysterical. But out of respect for the stats and for the sake of proper communication, I'm probably going to try not to do that.
Yeah. So otherwise, a lot of it's pretty straightforward. Some stuff gets a little weird when you're talking about systems. And there are times when systems and something else will overlap, but that's just like the way that Sharia always ends up using profession.
Okay, I'm sorry. When you say systems, you mean systems like people or systems like games?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
As a sociologist, they aren't as different as you think.
I'm sure they're not, but I had to clarify.
That's the
Because-
reason why it's weird, right? Because there are times when you could make the argument either or. In fact, almost any time somebody's rolled a systems check in the materials I've been watching from the live streams, there's a question about whether it's systems or something else, which on the one hand can be confusing for players, but on the other hand is not only much more like how the world works, but it allows for certain situations in which somebody can fill a hole left by someone else, which could be important to do. Like when you have to rely on the bard picking the lock because the rogue is unconscious. And we all know why the rogue is unconscious. And we might all have a different idea of why the rogue is unconscious, but we've all been there.
Yeah.
He did something he shouldn't have fucking done, especially to somebody he should have known better than to try to do it with. And now the bard, who did the same thing but with their penis so they can keep going. Or what have you, in the case of a succubus. But I digress. Have we had one of those? I don't think we've had one of those.
Had one of what?
We haven't had any of the my character is a tiefling descending from a succubus doing bard shit. That hasn't come up.
No, we don't have a lot of traditional characters other than fun.
Especially not in Nostria. I've gone to great lengths to make
Oh
that
wait,
as
no,
hard as
I
possible.
know, Justice. We do have Justice.
Yeah, but Justice is definitely not one of those.
Yeah, you
We've
don't
had a
know
few
it, so.
tieflings. We've had a few tieflings, but nobody's doing the my mama was a succubus shtick.
Yeah.
I mean, even I've done that.
Which is just tragic. Unfortunately, Trixie can't. I want to have Trixie pretend to be that.
I mean, you could. Trixie can definitely pretend. Trixie is the rogue that's not unconscious because she used her penis
Yes, this is true.
and didn't do the stupid thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I succeeded in a diplomacy role of walking directly into a business meeting and yelling, "It's orgy time," and that worked. So, like, you know.
To be fair, it worked with dark elves.
Well, that's even funnier. Why didn't anyone stab me, literally or figuratively?
Well, I mean,
Thud was right there.
your character represents like a very dangerous, very confusing potential threat that they also see as being very valuable to them. So anything they do to Trixie, they do to them, and that's the reason why anybody from Drifter's End is tolerated under any circumstances, basically, unless it's in the bedroom. It's a very different scenario there. No, it's the same scenario. You even got punched in the face once. Anyway, so this is all true. I've changed it to cognition. Nobody has the right to be confused anymore.
Yes, excellent, wonderful.
Even though I might be, because mechanics feel like mechanics was not what was on the thing that I used to base the sheet I was working on. But maybe I'm misremembering. Because it kind of makes sense, you know. You have to do big, heavy lifting and moving things, and because I'm thinking of somebody using a wrench the size of a cow on a fucking.
I view mechanics as a form of, can you use a pulley system? Is that an accurate assessment?
Well, I'm thinking of automotive mechanics, and automotive mechanics includes like mech suits and shit.
When you say automatic, wait, do you mean like driving? Or do you mean like fixing?
No, that's operation. I mean fixing it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Huh.
Otherwise, why would... I mean, driving a car is not going to be under mechanics in the resilience section, surely.
Yeah.
Unless you're very sleepy. You shouldn't be behind the wheel if you're tired, right? But otherwise... Using Insight? Was it? Yeah, it was Insight. And I remember Resolve, because there was lots of that.
It's putting mechanics into resilience, unless you mean like how you need to be strong, but... And then you can just fudge it if you have the tools to make it do the thing you need.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I was saying. Like, you know, you're using a wrench the size of a fucking German Shepherd on a mech. I could see why that would require resilience, right?
I mean, yeah, but like, why wouldn't they just have machines that do that job for you?
Well, in that case, you're driving the machine, and then it falls under systems, and you're talking cognition.
Yeah,
that's a different matter.
Yeah, so so I think we're saying the same thing, except yours is way more niche, and I just mean generically using mechanics as in using pulley systems, using levers, yada, 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 yada.
Well, why would you use pulley systems and levers with resilience? Maybe they're very heavy levers.
Well, no, because the purpose, well, I mean, you can do melee that isn't strength-based.
True.
This isn't
I mean, not in this game, but yeah.
And the purpose of using things like pulley systems and levers is to make it so you don't have to use as much strength, or so you can multiply the amount of strength you are using.
Sure, but then resilience wouldn't be the thing you'd use.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I'm really good at arguing why people are wrong about things. What do you want from me?
I think ultimately we end up agreeing eventually on this one. I think that we're on the same page.
See, here's the thing. I don't necessarily think it doesn't belong under resilience. I just think that it is a little bit odd.
Yeah.
Honestly, in my mind, because what's the definition of maneuver?
The definition of maneuver.
Yeah,
I've invented a maneuver. That's more of a gesture, really.
I honestly, maneuver and mechanics would be things that I might swap. I'm just saying.
Because you need to be resilient in order to maneuver, and you need to be flexible in order to mechanic.
Yeah,
I have been in situations where that's true.
I'm really good at arguing for and against things, and so I could see either one.
The nonsense you're doing right now is why 5th edition doesn't have the skills attached to the abilities. It's because of that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Even though I feel those are niche cases, and Dungeon Master should probably have known. But, you can't count on them to know things.
Well, I mean, I just use my endurance to do a filibuster, so whatever.
Fuck yeah.
It's awesome.
You rolled the shit out of that.
Yeah.
And we made everyone feel guilty for not helping protect the world from devastation or whatever.
Yeah. So this is all true. And we have Sharia calls melee. And Mirai. Right?
So Shara's going to be Mirai?
Probably. Unless you guys can think of a better one for me to be, it seems like the Thren would be,
Then I open up the pre-generated characters and find that literally none of them are I.
Yeah, it seems like the Thren would be subpar for melee. Not that I'm not sure... I'm pretty sure I could pull a pretty decent melee threat. Just saying, threat. If I wanted to. But I'm aware.
I need you to understand something really important. I would like to be a Thren, but the very important thing here is based on my understanding of the Thren, I would end up channeling Christmas Elf just a bit.
Just don't tell anyone. Just don't tell anyone. Watch my inspiration video. If you didn't know any better, you wouldn't know that I was ripping off Scrooge McDuck. You'd have no clue. Just be a Christmas elf in space, and nobody will know you're a Christmas elf.
Technically, the Christmas elf was a gnome.
Yes, the Christmas Elf was a gnome.
That's not confusing at all.
Well, you see,
She was a gnome raised by elves. It happens.
No, they're called Santa's helpers.
You're called
If
Santa's
you
helper.
wanted to be a Santa's helper.
Ooh, that didn't dawn on me. I didn't give you access to half of the species that are represented by the precons. That should probably have been the first thing I realized.
No, wait, you specifically told us that we weren't allowed to play anything that wasn't in the list of the 3 that...
Exactly, but it didn't dawn on me that meant that you can't be half of the fucking precons because they're races that aren't in the Trinity.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of bugs. We might be okay. Except this one's a scientist, so that's not what we're looking for now anyway. This one's an engineer. Sharea's played 30% of all of the engineers in gaming history.
That is true.
Then again, what if they have a specialization for bonking people with their wrench?
to be
That
fair,
was really cool.
I love that character, and she is all of my gaming fandoms,
Yeah.
including Hades. And the Hades fandom didn't even exist at the time.
Yeah, now that you
That's
mention
true.
it, that is true.
Goose Game counts.
Yeah.
Human.
I'm pretty sure I'm just Goose Game incarnate, though.
Nope. This one is a veto. What were you going to say?
I'm kind of digging the idea of a Mirai scientist who's on a sabbatical.
You should probably not be on the mission I'm planning if you're on... Oh, no! What if you're on vacation but not allowed to leave? You just work at the facility because it's a science facility, and you're just like sitting in a deck chair stubbornly with like one of those foil tanning station things on your chest with like suntan oil on your nose, but you're in the fucking corridor of a space station, and people walk up and they're like, "What's going on?" You're like, "Fuck you! I'm on vacation. I will enjoy this vacation regardless." They're like, "Okay." You know why? Quarantine. It'll be because of a quarantine too.
Oh god, that's so funny.
Oh man.
Alright, then yeah, I'll take. Well, you wanted a token human, so I'll take either Thren or
Well,
human.
there's gonna be a technician with you who is a human for the purposes of drama, and again because I'm ripping off Adam Lee's Traxigor, except better, because Adam Lee didn't bother to write Traxigor for reasons they're not even. I really like getting after Adam Lee, even though out of jealousy, even though Adam Lee probably did what was fastest and most accessible for the community for Dungeons and Dragons. It's the community of Dungeons and Dragons I should actually be mad at.
Yeah. But you can also technically surmise that he is at fault for facilitating the community behaving in that way by creating those resources in the first place.
Yeah,
Anyway.
but the alternative is that they have to make it out for themselves, or they have to figure it out for themselves, and then why are they buying an adventure path if they're just going to make shit up?
What are the Thren options?
Okay, hold on. I'm still trying to figure out how to do... Okay, we have a Mirai with no definition. This one doesn't look like they're done. So I might just polish this one off by putting points in resilience and bashing and make them a bodyguard, which would actually make sense under the circumstances. So we'll just hold this over here in limbo and not talk about it. And then
My job to guard bodies? I can guard bodies.
to guard a particular body. because the Rast still have a certain amount of what we're going to call neoliberal gusto. So it's not ridiculous for a Rast to hire a bodyguard, which would sort of be like, what the fuck is wrong with you for the Trinity? The Trinity would just be like, people need to be protected on the principle that people need to be protected. How is this lucrative?
Yeah.
And we have no synths. I was thinking about that, but none of the pre-constructed characters are synths. So
And you also didn't give us that option.
we have Thren the hacker, or a Thren hacker, Mirai engineer, Mirai scientist, human marine, human medic, a Thren marshal, a Thren pilot, a Rast face, and a Rast sneak. So
Well, I could get behind that first Thren or the pilot.
hacker or pilot.
Yeah.
Well, pilot.
I don't have anybody for a pilot, but I suppose if you decided you wanted a hacker more than you wanted pilot, I could make the other guy the pilot. But there's stuff that's supposed to happen that should.
I'm happy with either.
Okay.
Those were the Thren options, and I want Thren.
All right.
Those are the two. I can be persuaded of either, though I am leaning towards the pilot on the basis that under the description of the Thren, they were described as being really interested in exploration, and what is the quintessential that but a pilot.
Okay. I have an issue I don't think I realized could be a problem.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure how it works yet, but instead of a leveling system, it looks like you spend experience, and there's not a record of how much experience the character's already spent, so I don't know what, effectively speaking, level the character is. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
If you imagine Dungeons and Dragons, but instead of gaining a level, you spend your experience points to buy your features, feats, and abilities, and ability score increases. If they don't tell me, unless there isn't, well, then what would experience be for? If there wasn't a progression, there has to be a progression.
The progression is you have more stuff available to you, or your stuff is improved. Fine.
Yeah, and experience 0 in that case might indicate that these are literally first level characters.
Yeah.
But the numbers seem pretty wildly irregular. Why it keeps popping up to tell me I'm Lampe? I know who I am. Thank you. It's like, just so you know, you're Lampe. What was I going to log in as some other motherfucker? Get out of my face. I got numbers to compare. Actually, maybe they're comparable. I should probably have done a better. I was so interested in talking about the world in order to get you guys psyched up for the story that only now do I realize how fish out of water I am in the system itself, which I took for granted would be closer to things I was familiar with.
The only reason I don't automatically get interested in sci-fi stuff is because I have a weird prejudice against sci-fi stuff. I don't even know where that came from. I don't know why I'm like this.
Really? A prejudice against science fiction?
Yeah! Well, we had a whole conversation the other day where I was telling you about how I only read fantasy. But, like, the level of I only read fantasy is to the point that I always, like, I would go out, I'd just avoid, I'd pick up a book and be like, oh, this is science fiction, I guess I'm not reading it.
That's unbelievable to me.
I know, right? But that is just a thing that I have. Like, it takes a lot to persuade me to read something that is science fiction. And I don't know where I got that prejudice. I don't know why I don't like science fiction. My dad is literally a programmer. I was raised in the fucking improve the science to reach the stars kind of ideal, and yet I have this really weird prejudice against science fiction. I don't know why.
All right, so we have a Mirai that is unfinished that we're just going to plug in a whole lot of doing violence to things with in Melee. There's a lot of empathy already on this character sheet.
Unless you would rather me play the human marine or the Thren marshal.
Last chance.
I'm not
for
sure
this
what a marshal is.
engineer. without any training in melee. I see. But if you were to lose... These don't seem to match up, so presumably these are mobile, which means that we could pull off one from medicine and one from scrutiny and give you 2 in melee, and with a resilience of 6, that'd give you a pool of 8. So you'd still be pretty fucking good at melee. It's a small ask, and it's already a Mirai. Although you'd be an engineer again.
I mean...
But because mechanics is the physical skill that is also used for melee, it just so happens that they work together.
Look, clearly, if I'm playing that character who's an engineer, I work with the scientist Mirai to do all the heavy lifting around whatever sciencey things they're doing. And they do all the brainy things around the sciencey things.
Well, I'm thinking you're actually going to be a replacement. You're the person that's on this. Yeah, you're supposed to replace a technician that something happened to. Because it turns out that this facility is dangerous.
I see. All I could think of in that case was that one video I watched of a guy who was trying to make the world's biggest pancake. And so basically, your job would be to put together the things that flip the pancake, and he was in his and that person's job would be to program the spatula to flip the pancake.
Okay, but how though?
What do you mean how though?
I mean, how is that apropos of anything? It's so weird.
A smart guy who programs and a strong guy who does the heavy lifting for it.
Okay.
Those are completely connected.
Yes.
Fuck you.
I'm sure that's true. So yeah, I think that's the most sensible course of action. Even though you're the engineer again, this time more or less against your will. If they happened to have a bug that was a kung fu master, we'd have gone with that, but that's not on the list.
I would totally play a bug that is a kung fu master.
Yeah, who wouldn't? I can't stop thinking about it now. We're probably going to do that when we invite Matt. We'll make
the mantis from Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what I was
I was going to say that, and
Yeah.
his name would be probably Bruce Leaf.
Bruce Leaf. No, that's the lichen. That's the kung fu plant person. Yeah, okay. So we already know what your next characters are going to be too, because Shreya has to have a kung fu insect, and Miriam has to have a bug person, and Matt has to be allowed to play. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, we're keeping that one for my own reasons.
Yeah, so I like the bug scientist, but as for agenda, it whatever fits this story the best.
Yeah. Good.
I kind of like the idea that I failed the queen and I've been demoted to the lowest, shittiest job.
That would
in search for
definitely be how you ended up in this place.
Yeah.
This place is
Or
not...
your particular talent has made you valuable and you're a emissary.
I'm sorry, I really love the scientist who's just willfully on vacation in base. Fuck you.
Yeah, for sure. I love it.
Yeah, I like you're a pile of shit. You're this close to being recalled, but you know what? Go here and don't die, and we'll see what happens.
So another option, and this is a hilarious option, is you're a scientist on vacation, but you're such a nerd you go vacation at a different science facility.
Yeah, it says you're going to go see the stars, so you go to a different science facility and then look out the window.
Yeah.
Well, my thought is that there's a reason why he's not allowed to leave. And that reason probably has something to do with why your character needs to replace a suddenly not there anymore engineer.
Yeah, you were on vacation, but then, you got quarantined here for probably quarantine reasons.
Or maybe they said this is your vacation until the new engineer.
Thank you for your time. Like, comment, subscribe, and share.